Hey everybody, and welcome to another RCT2 review. We are continuing our head-to-head 10 review series. We're into the semifinals now. This is semifinal number 1, and park number 2. This is the Soda Jerks Park, Super Nintendo World, and this was built by InCities with 40%. Also, Where's Waldo at 40%, Mulpje at 15%, and Hobeon at 5%. The last time out, we looked at Gardens of Light, which was this sort of very fantastical, ethereal, like themed thing, but still kind of looked like RCT. Today we've got something that's more based on real life. This is based on the real Super Nintendo world that already exists in California and Japan and is going into Orlando at the new Epic Universe Park, but this is a really interesting departure from your typical RCT styles. This is the sort of cel-shaded object types with a lot of these kind of like solid color, very little texturing, shading, and things like that. And it's a really, really interesting take on RCT, I guess. I don't think I've really ever seen anything like this, so it's very, very cool to me. I believe InCities Josh did almost all of these objects, which is not surprisingly super talented with that. But let's jump into it. So we've got, if we zoom out a little bit, we got three kind of areas here. We get the Super Mario World here, we've got Donkey Kong on this side, then we've got a Zelda area on this side. So coming in straight away, we got the great portal here. You come through the pipes, and you come out to this great plaza that has a really nice overlook out to the rest of this area here. All the little spinning coins and different things. Here's a fun little meet and greet here with Peach, and some kind of interesting different stuff to see. On this side we have Yoshi's Adventure, where it's going all the way around the kind of upper area here, so just some kind of little bit of interaction here. I'd really like this diagonal bridge here with the archways and everything. We spin back around and we can see the kind of different levels here, which is pretty cool. I like this little kind of walkway through here, little meet and greet here with Luigi and the punch block and everything. Got Toadstool Cafe here on the corner, and then Bowser's Castle is sort of this big section right here in the middle. Lots of just little details here, lots of little animated bits which really give it some life. I think you really kind of need that almost, because you've got this really interesting artwork and art style, but it's relatively simple in general, and you know, once you get into it, it's really nice to see some movement and everything else to really kind of give this some general interest, at the risk of being almost too plain. But I think that's why we've got some really nice detailing, you know, throughout the whole thing. So if we spin around, we can kind of see the inside of this whole area here. We got a pretty sizable queue here to the start of the Mario Kart ride. So here's these two that are coming together side by side. It's a single lap go-kart track. A little bit different from the augmented reality dark ride that the real ones got, but this is probably a better way to recreate it, or at least do something inspired by it. You know, certainly there are fantasy-esque aspects of this, which is, you know, not a problem at all, I don't think. But kind of neat to see this jump here at the start. You get a couple of different areas specific to the various tracks in the game. I love these kind of little flaming bits and pieces. So this red one that's going to go up kind of over this nice banked corner here, a couple of these little jumps. We spin around again, we go across the beach, get that section, then of course Rainbow Road. I think you kind of have to have Rainbow Road if you're doing a Mario game, so really kind of neat here with the Starfield Beyond, sort of a trippy look with that. And then we end up getting into Bowser's Castle here at the end with all these different sets above the lava and everything, so very neat to see all of that. Jumping back out, we're going to take the tube here and cross over into the Legend of Zelda area. So this is the one of the original areas of the three, since we don't have some real-life inspiration for this one. So just a kind of a small area here, but I think it fills out very nicely. We've got this little flat ride here called Round the Deku Tree, and just some really nice architecture throughout. A little bit more lighter colors, a little bit more kind of rural looked things. I love the windmill, so even with the brand new scenery types and textures and colors and everything, we still can't escape the windmill. around a little bit more, and we can see this little event down here. I'm not entirely sure what this is. Like almost one of those lightsaber building areas like at Disney, perhaps. But a couple of little meet and greets in here as well. Just nice landscaping too. It's kind of feel like you almost have to learn a new type of landscaping in order to do this with these new objects. I feel like this would be very hard to work with, but definitely interesting. Then we've got the castle here, and on this side we have Link here with Fred, Majora's Mask, Moon, I guess. Kind of a fun little detail. So Fred was part of the Soda Jerks here at the beginning of the season, and unfortunately had to drop out. But he's been getting snuck into a lot of these parks here throughout, which is kind of a fun little detail. We spin around to this side, we can see those seats that we had seen, I think, originally in Millennium Discovery Museum. I'm not entirely sure if that's the case where they were first introduced or not. But anyway, it's kind of this neat flying theater design. We don't generally see these because I feel like they're a little bit hard to portray in RCT, but actually I think this is very nicely done. And it's a good mix of this new art style with just more traditional game aspects. So, we back out just a little bit here and we swing around. We can see here's a little theater that has a bit of a cutaway here, so that's a nice little peek in there too. Spin back around one more time and go underneath our Yoshi ride, and then go through the banana portal here with the little yellow palm trees. We get into the Donkey Kong area, which is probably the most interesting area of all of them, in my opinion. So to start out with, we've got Search for the Banana Horde, which is a nice rapids ride, kind of just trippy, you know, to see this solid blue water rather than the typical kind of flashing, translucent water that you're kind of used to in the game. So kind of a neat way to do something very different. There's a couple of little cutaway type elements here with this overhanging landscape and everything. If you spin around, we can kind of see little bits and pieces of this, some of the characters as well, and then the giant ship that's in the middle that actually looks really, really nice for the whole thing. So we're using the oak barrel, which is one that you don't see used very often, I don't think. Usually more of the traditional rapids, but this one seems to fit a little better, in my opinion. I like this lift that goes kind of right up into the ship here, and then it pops out on this side, and then we have the this coming around on the side here, all the way through all the different banana bits and pieces here and everything. I realize I kind of picked this up halfway through the layout. Here's the station itself. You start out coming off with this nice little splash drop here, kind of nice, and then back into the entrance. I really like the way that this dock is integrated with the queue and the way that it kind of wraps around and loads over on this side. It'd be a cool viewing area, I think, just to be able to kind of stand along here and watch all of that. It's a little bit challenging initially to kind of really see the heights of different things as you come in. So you're gonna have to keep turning the map just to see that a little bit better. I do like how we've got this kind of shared wall between the two areas, and then this side has more of the sandy textures and the browns and everything compared to the other side, which was more of those greens and brighter colors. So it really blends nicely with this area on this side and the other area on the opposing side. A couple little huts and different things like this as you come across. A couple entertainers through here, and then we get to the main attraction of the map, I would suggest. This is the Minecart Madness ride, and this is a kind of recreation-ish of what is going into Epic Universe here in Orlando. So what's cool about this one is that if we pause it right here, we can see we've got the mine train car here that's floating above this other kind of wheeled element here on top of this fixed rail, and then on top we have this broken rail. If you may recall, we first had seen this in Namchalang So the no custom scenery park, about halfway through the season. So if you scroll back probably 20 videos or so, you'll probably see that one too. That was the first time we had kind of seen this ride created in the game. at least in head-to-head. And they've done it here in a more representative way of the real thing with these undercarriage that runs on a track below that you can't, typically see or aren't supposed to see, and then the ride vehicle itself that sits on top that's more of the visual one. So it allows you to go over jumps and to cross gaps and to go in water and stuff like that without, visually, without actually, being able to leave the track and do something totally unsafe. So it's a very cool mechanism in real life for sure, and it's neat to see this recreated in RCT as well. Let's unpause this and see. So we've got the single rail track here in the middle for that, and then the Giga Coaster along the side, which represents the real thing actually fairly well. The layout here is also fairly similar to the real thing. So we have this station over on this side that comes out and around, and then we go up through the launching barrel here, up and over this jump across the temple, and then crossing around, we get to this section which we looked at. A couple of these little jumps, gaps in the track, things like that. You can kind of see little peaks as you go through here. I do kind of like this with the crumbled buildings and everything, the crumbled temples, and you can kind of see those little gaps throughout. And then we spin around, and on this side we've got the rest of it. So this is sort of the finale on this side, where we've got a pretty nice size jump here, come across, and then we've got this little fake splashdown here at the end too, and then up and into the brakes. Kind of neat to see this static waterfall and everything, because it actually still has some dynamic looks to it with the different colors and shading on the whole thing. I actually think it looks pretty good. And all of this blocks over to the back side of the wall for the Mario Kart ride. So it does really well to build up some height here, and then use this kind of faux scenic wall on the back here in the 3 different colors to really do a backdrop like you would typically see in a park. So I think that's done quite well, actually. So that covers the park pretty well. There's a lot to see in this, and it's just kind of a neat thing too, because for me, I kind of spent a lot of time initially just sort of trying to get used to the new art style and object use and everything. It's really, really interesting, when you click on different objects and then you look at the colors and everything. You still have the sort of textural stuff right here, but once you combine that with all of these different objects that are more solid color, cel-shaded looks, it's a very different style for sure. And it's really cool. You definitely have those folks that are saying, it's not really for me. But to be honest, I think it's really interesting. And the way that the game has now allowed us to kind of push the envelope for different things, it's very, very cool. So this park was victorious over Gardens of Light, and this propelled the Soda Jerks into the finals. So next round, we will take a look at the second semifinals park, which has 2 more great parks. Oddly, another Nintendo-ish park. So stay tuned for that, and we will check that out next time around. If you'd like to download this park, you can absolutely take a look at it with the link in the description below. You will need Open RCT to do it, so I provided a link to that as well. Hope you enjoyed this one, and we will see you around for the next one. So until next time, thank you all very much for watching. Have a great day. Bye now.